Okay, our next installment for our Encoder references in 3M is going to be the Merck Manual. So let's go ahead and click on our little book stack. And the Merck Manual is located in the 3M Coding Reference Plus section of your reference page. And it's right down here. It says the Merck Manual. I want you to click on that. Now what's going to happen is this is actually going to take you to a website when you click on it. And the website, this is the professional edition. As you can see, it says at the top of the screen. There is a consumer edition, a consumer version that is written in everyday language. We don't really want that. We want the professional version because it's going to give us extra information. All right. So there's a couple of things to look for here. If you look, here we have medical topics. If we point at that and click at it, it will give us all of these different topics that there is something addressed in one of these topics in the Merck Manual. We can click on drug information. Again, this is another place for you to get some drug information if what you have is not found in the clinical pharmacology and drug reference. All right. There's news, new things that are out there in the news. It's a way for you to keep up on what's going on out there. Procedures and exams. This is an interesting one because as you can see, there are videos here. The problem with it is that there are not a lot. There are some, but there are not as many as you might like to see. And that's it. So it's a place for you to at least look. There's paracentesis, orotracheal intubation, bone marrow biopsy. There are some things there, that lumbar puncture, that would be helpful. So it's a quick place to look for that, first of all. And then just click on it and it would play the video. There's also quizzes that you can take just to quiz yourself to see if you really are up on things. There's also cases, different cases here, case studies. It's just kind of interesting. And then there are some additional resources here. Patient symptoms, lab values, so if you needed to, you could look there. I would look in the other references first for things like drug information and lab values. Then if you can't find it, then I would come to the Merck Manual. All right, but the Merck Manual is a place for you just to look up specific topics. So it would be used very much like you use your tapers. Now, here's the one caveat that I would say. I would still utilize my tapers, and you can, with your purchase of your tapers hard copy book, there is there's free access to their online version, so you could still work totally online. All right, but let's just go ahead and look at bone marrow biopsy. Let's just say bone marrow biopsy. Well, it doesn't really there we go. And if you see, as you type things in, it will automatically start to narrow things down here in your drop-down section. So we have bone marrow. Okay, still didn't bring up what we needed. So bone marrow stem. Now let's put in BIOPSY. Now it's forcing us to put the whole thing in. So let's go ahead. You can either click on the search or you can click directly on that, the bone marrow biopsy underneath, and it will give you information about that topic. Here's medical topic, bone marrow examination. So perhaps that's what you were looking for. We could look at that. Aplastic anemia, multiple myeloma, bone tumors, mastocytosis, thrombocytopenia. All of these are things in areas in which bone marrow biopsy pops up as either diagnostic or whatnot. So let's just click on bone marrow examination. Because chances are, if you're looking at bone marrow biopsy, you're looking up to see what's it used for, right? So this tells us, it gives us information. Now, I want you to note that it says here, this is the consumer version. It flipped us over to the consumer version. That is very important. We want the medical version. the professional version. Notice it takes us back. So let's go ahead and type it in again. And we're going to click on bone marrow biopsy. That gives us the actual procedure, right? So when we're looking at the professional version, we don't have that same piece that was available in the consumer version that we saw, right? So we have from the consumer version, if you look here, we have the bone marrow examination. This will allow us to watch the video. It will allow us to look at the different types of disease processes for which bone marrow biopsy is utilized. And that may feel like it's working a little bit backwards to you, but what is happening is it's saying, instead of just giving you you go in and you look and see what a bone marrow biopsy is, and it gives you the definition, blah, 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 blah. It also gives you the, I'll come out there in a minute. It also gives you the diagnoses that you can look for. All right, sorry about that, I got distracted. So let's just look at multiple myeloma. It tells us what it is, and here it also gives you the option to click on for the consumer version as well. All right, it gives you the pathophysiology of it, gives you the signs and symptoms, it gives you the diagnosis, and lo and behold, number 4, bone marrow examination. So it gives you lots of information. It's a place for you to look up a disease process. You can put in any type of a disease process and you will get all of this information. It's fantastic. It gives you the diagnosis, it gives you prognosis, it gives you treatments, it gives you malignant, what do they do with treatment of malignant cells, if you have treatment complications, key points for you to remember. And the nice thing is that makes it different than your Taber's book is that there are hyperlinks here for you to, for you to click on. So if you're going through here and you don't know, okay, so chemotherapy treatment, thalidomide, what is that? You can click on that and it will take you to what thalidomide is. All right, so that's a really nice piece of information. And again, this is going to be one of those things that is going to be the separator between a mediocre coder and a good coder. An excellent coder is one that's willing to look up in the Merck Manual, willing to read about it, willing to educate themselves on a disease process, the treatment, the monitoring, etc. So with that, we're done. Conclusion, we're done with this one.